Alright, what is going on, YouTube? And I'm trying something new today. I'm trying a story time video, and the main reason I'm doing this is because I got a 26 kill game on Fortnite, but it was kind of a bot lobby. And it was actually like a really bot lobby. So I was like, 26 kills is 26 kills. I don't want this storage hogging up my PS5. I just kind of want to put it out there. So I decided to just voice it over, make a nice little story time commentary. And this story is going to be about the drunkest I have ever been without blacking out. And it's perfect because this story takes place about a year ago, Black Friday. That's right, this was Black Friday 2022. So let's throw in a little prologue action here. I had just gotten done with a day of scouring my town for absolutely no good deals on Black Friday. That's right. 2022 is the beginning of the dry streak for Black Friday. Let this be known, like, years down the road. Like, in 2027 or whenever, like, man, remember when Black Friday used to be a good, remember when deals used to be crazy and, like, pregnant women would just be beating the hell out of each other for, like, a Samsung TV? What happened to those days? Let it be shown on the record that 2022 is kind of the year that went downhill. But yeah, it was 2022. I had gotten done shopping. I was like, okay. It was fun. I participated in, the event that is Black Friday. Now it's time to get a leg workout in. So I go to the gym. I'm blasting legs. This was a Friday, so it was probably like a squat day at the time. It was probably just like some squatting, some jumps, some quad extensions, some hamstring curls. You know the drill. But the thing is, on my leg days, I would always do a little bit. This was when I was like cutting, kind of. Like I was trying to lose weight and get shredded. And it was the holiday season, nonetheless. So just coming off of Thanksgiving, I was fat as hell, and so I was trying to burn off some extra calories. So I implemented like half-mile runs and a 2-mile walk after all of my workouts. That's just what I would do. I'd lift and then do a half-a-mile run and then a 2-mile walk on the treadmill at the maximum, the maximum height the treadmill can go to. And so I get my lifting done at the gym, and I'm about to go home and do my run and my walk on the treadmill. And that's when one of my buddies hits me up. He says, "We're meeting at Applebee's. You want to meet up?" And so I'm thinking, all right, sure, let's do this. Let's go to Applebee's. I can get a little protein in there, like a little bit of maybe some chicken. The Applebee's boneless wings are fire. Or chicken nuggets to the fellas who say boneless wings are just chicken nuggets. And yeah, so I was just like a little intermission before I go back at home and do all the cardio and all that jazz. And so we're sitting at Applebee's, and my friend says, "Let's drink tonight." And I was like, okay, I could get behind that. And I was like, times like these don't come often. Like when we're all adults and getting busy and stuff. Like, you might as well take every advantage to have to crack a couple cold ones with the boys, whenever you can get the chance. So I went along with it, and I ended up on the way to his house. From there, I stopped at one more Walmart and managed to pick up Skyrim, a PS4 copy for like $10. It was like a steal, so I was so happy I finally got that. And yeah, so the drinks in question for the night were a 12-pack of Angry Orchard hard ciders, which are an absolutely delightful concoction, and a bottle of Jose Cuervo, whatever the hell that tequila stuff is. So we have a little fire going on. The Angry Orchards are going down like water. In fact, I would probably say easier than water. And those things have a lot of added sugar too, so I was probably a little counterproductive in the whole trying to lean out department. Because those things have 22 grams of added sugar or something, like 160 calories per bottle. And all of a sudden, I was just on my fourth bottle of Angry Orchard, and we were getting a little low on the Angry Orchard, so like um, we each had like three or four. I had a little more than that, and so yeah, we were getting a little low on the Angry Orchard, so that's when we crack open the Jose Cuervo, and I think this is where things start to go a little wrong. So far, everything probably seems pretty normal. I am 4 hard ciders deep, and I would say I'm just a little buzzed because those things have so much sugar that they'll keep you sober in the moment, probably, but then you're like hungover the next day or something. It's like some weird dynamic with sugar and alcohol. But anyway, we crack open the Jose Cuervo, and we all like have a little shot of it. We're like, and stuff's pretty like, it has a strong little kick to it. And after that, I decided to concoct a little Midwestern staple we like to call tilk, which is basically tequila and milk, as the name would suggest. And I came to this decision because I decided I needed some more protein post-workout. And so what I did was I took a Fairlife, those little like plastic bottles that have like the chocolate milk in them or whatever, and I drank half of the Fairlife, just plain, And then I filled the rest of the bottle up with the Jose Cuervo, and that was probably a detrimental decision to the night. And it was probably one of the worst tasting things I've ever had. It was like the fat in the milk did not blend with any of the alcohol, any of the liquor in the Jose Cuervo. So it was like I was having two separate like tastes. Also, I'm kind of whiffing these shots, but I don't know. It's awkward shooting down at people. But yeah, Jose Cuervo in the Fairlife down the hatch. That's probably about 2 shots worth. Filling up the Fairlife halfway with tequila. So yeah, I had that, and we decided to go back in and watch the Midwestern classic Fargo, the movie, not the show. And we're just sitting there. At this point, I'm definitely a little like drunk, but it hasn't set in. Like, sometimes the alcohol like waits to just gut punch your system like a while later, and it doesn't really set in right away. And that is what happened this time. So yeah, I finished the tilk, and I'm just kind of simmering. Then I decided to make another mixed drink, and so I drink just a little bit off the top of a protein water, and a protein water is basically kind of like a Gatorade, but instead of like sugar, it's like protein. It's like 15 grams of protein in like a Gatorade sized bottle, and they're pretty great. But I drank just like the top little dome part of the bottle and just filled that back up with tequila, and I just sipped on that while we were watching Fargo. So it was nothing too crazy there, but it hadn't set in yet. It will hit me, it just hasn't hit me yet. And I ended up finishing that. We finished Fargo, and I have my friend, he's trying to do that trick where you rub the bottom of a beer bottle and tap it on the lid or like the rim of another beer bottle and just make it fizz up. And he ended up breaking the last bottle of the Angry Orchard. So I was like, fuck, man. I'm out of Angry Orchards now. Which sucked. That was a debacle. So I ended up having a bottled Bud Light. And this was 2022. This was before the collapse of Bud Light. Let's not pretend like Bud Light wasn't an American staple before they sold the bag big time, not knowing their audience at all. So our total for the night is about 4 Angry Orchards, 4 shots worth of Jose Cuervo and 1 Bud Light. And once I finish that Bud Light, that is where I enter a patch of slight, ever so slight haziness. My friend, he had wanted to do some like boxing for fun that night, and apparently I boxed one of my friends, and it was just a shit show. Like I was just stumbling all over, kind of like that. And I don't remember that. Then all of a sudden, I find myself teleported back home. And this part, this I remember just completely fine. Like, no problem at all. And I get some leftovers, some, like, Thanksgiving leftovers. And, like, I talk to my family a little bit. Everything's chill. And everybody else goes to bed because it's a little late at this point. And I was like, oh, I still haven't done my cardio for the day. So I grabbed my dog, and I was gonna take him as a walk. I was gonna take him out for a walk, and I was like, I'll just get my walking done outside. Burrito, the dog, needs to be taken out anyway, so I can just, take him out for a little walk. So that's what I do. I take him out, and we don't even leave the driveway. Burrito is just defecating in the yard. When I see kind of like kind of a beater car, like a car that would be likely to be pulled over just because of like all of the different conditions it's in, and like the regulations it's probably not living up to, or like all the regulations it's not meeting, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It comes driving through the neighborhood, and this is about at 2 in the morning, mind you, and he pulls into my neighbor's driveway. My neighbor, who is currently out of town visiting family, and they just park there. And this is not a car I have ever seen in the neighborhood before. And I just kind of look at it. It has tinted windows, so I can't see who's inside. And I just like kind of look at it. I'm like, it's kind of late for, them to be getting back home. And then the car kind of notices me looking, and starts to back out and slowly drive by me. And, I'm obviously not even doing anything weird at this point. I'm like still pretty drunk, but I'm not like incapacitated. I remember all of this. Nothing too crazy. And I'm just kind of looking at them, and they're just kind of driving by me slowly. And they proceed to pull into another neighbor's driveway and loiter there for a little bit. Nobody gets out of the car. They don't like check on the house or anything. They're just kind of sitting in the driveway for a little bit. And then they leave. And I was just kind of frozen there in the driveway of my house. And that's when sheer panic takes over. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a robbery that is about to be happening. There's a heist going down in my neighborhood. And I need to sober up right now. So immediately I pull trigger and make myself throw up right there in my yard. I just like do the little like gaggy thing, throw the F up, and then I'm like, okay, I need to further sober up. So I go downstairs, I hop on the treadmill for about an hour of cardio, just like blasting some like some dubstep, just getting all my steps in, just going absolutely hog wild on the treadmill. Then I'm like, okay, what about my outdoor run? And like, you can tell that the alcohol has kind of altered my state of thinking, it being 3 o'clock now and me still wanting to go for a run outside. So that's pretty crazy. But then I think, what if those people are in the middle of burglarizing a house? And what if they're armed? So I just did what anybody else would do in that situation, and I strapped on my bulletproof vest and then concealed it with my Slipknot sweatshirt, which is a baggier sweatshirt. Then I take my replica Attack on Titan sword, like the Scout Regiment, like sword they used to kill the Titans with, and it's sheathed. Do not worry, it has a very like safe regulation sheath that it's like kept in. So don't worry, I wouldn't have drunkenly fallen on my sword and cut myself in half. But I did have the sheath on, and it's got a nice little backpack kind of strap. I threw it on my back, and then I'd go for a run with the bulletproof vest and the sheathed blade on my back. And I'm just running through. It was the hardest half mile of my life. I think a lot of it had to do with the bulletproof vest's added weight resistance and the sword's weight resistance. But I was not going to allow myself to be jumped at 3 in the morning while being on my run. I was going to defend my neighborhood, and I was gonna drive them out, man. And long story short, I finished the run in probably like 4 minutes, which is not a good half mile time at all. And I just kind of get back inside, and I'm just like, dude, what if they come back? So I'm just kind of sitting like on the staircase right by my door, just, straight booing. I cannot imagine what any passerbys might have thought of like just a dude running with a sword on his back. They probably thought it was the coolest, craziest Black Friday activity they've ever seen. But yeah, basically, by the time I was going to bed, my family was waking up, and so I'm like, all right, passing the baton on to my family. You guys can defend the house from the possible intruders. And the next day, I woke up with the worst hangover of my whole life. I was basically in a vegetative state that entire day, and we ended up, trying to put that behind us, the whole burglar incident. We were going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say this was the mailmen, or like the newspaper people is what I'm trying to say. The people that deliver newspapers in the morning. It was just like they were using like a shittier car or something along those lines. And yeah, I just tried to get the peace of mind of like, just convincing myself that's the newspaper guys, nobody got robbed. Because it wasn't anybody related to my neighbors. It wasn't like it was somebody going to check up on the house. We asked them about it the next day, and they were like, oh yeah, I don't know who that could have been. That's really weird. So yeah, maybe it was the newspaper people, or maybe I prevented a burglary in an extremely drunken state. So yeah, I hope you guys like this kind of video. I don't want to say a filler video, but it was fun to make. I'll definitely do more story times because I got loads of stories to tell. But this was just one I kind of wanted to kickstart the series. A little bit of drunken festivities since it's around the same time a year later. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you guys later.